Good day. This is Jonathan Ribble with the Positive Switch. Here we go again. It's impeachment round two. I can't help it, guys. I gotta laugh at this stuff. Impeachment round two. They know no bounds. Here's what I my question is: if we can get rid of the First Amendment, that's number one. The Because what are you going to impeach him for now? He incited a riot. He did not incite a riot. In fact, he started his speech at 12 o'clock. He ended his speech at 1:10, around abouts. The first instigators at the Capitol were um, there at 12:53. Yeah, now, if you're an ardent Trump supporter, if you are definitely supportive of Trump, you are not going to um, leave his speech. So, with that said, the you are definitely not going to. It just irritates me that here we've duly elected officials that we elect to office that have no regard for the Constitution of America. And it seems like it takes forever for them to get anything done, and they were able to get this through right away. Now, if all he did was tell somebody to do something, now I've heard Maxine Waters tell everybody to, if they come into your shop, if they come into your store, if they're in a restaurant, you stand up against them and you get back at them. I've heard threats against Republicans and conservatives from the liberal politicians. They say, wait till this is all over and wait till we're in because we're going to put a target on your back. That's exactly what they said. But that doesn't matter. So I don't believe it's constitutional to be able to impeach President Trump. In fact, why don't they just let him go? They're scared to death. That's the truth. They're scared to death. They're scared that he's going to come back and they're going to lose big time. In the words of Trump, they're going to lose bigly. And if Trump is behind another candidate, maybe he won't run himself. I don't know. Maybe he'll say by the time 4 years is up, he's like, I don't even want to go back. He's like crazy. Our stock market is an all-time high. You got to give the guy some credit for what he's done in the face of everybody just complaining at him and moaning and pissing and groaning. He's done a pretty effective job up to this point. So, first impeachment didn't work. Let's impeach him again. That's a record, guys. That's a record. Now, just because he's impeached does not mean just because he's impeached by the House, the Senate has to have a crime. Well, the Constitution clearly states that you cannot impeach him after he's no longer president. The impeachment process was for to convict a sitting president of a crime while in office and force him to resign. When you can get it, he's done. He's done. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Okay, now that's impeachment of our speech. Our First Amendment is free speech, guys. I just said to somebody this morning, they asked me how my first few weeks of 21 are doing, and I said, well, I'm careful of what I say because I'm worried about the Secret Service of speech trying to get me. So that's my concern. And I'm like, if they can get my speech, because I say some pretty audacious stuff. If they can get my speech, what next? Well, NRA just files bankruptcy, trying to get out of the state, the National Rifle Association. They are fighting for your right for Amendment number 2, so they're under fire. So we've got the president of the United States already. It isn't to me, this isn't no coincidence. We've got the president of the United States impeached for his speech, article number one. And then we got the NRA filing bankruptcy, trying to get away from New York because the attorney general is on a witch hunt for the the National Rifle Association. So they're trying to. It's just our Constitution's under attack right now. I have an idea. Why don't we just light the freaking thing on fire? Or would it be good to obey it? Would it be good to look at it as a living document and say, you know what? If it was good for 200 years ago when they created this country, now it does need to. Yes, we have a different culture now, but the tenets are still the same. It's like the Bible; it doesn't change. Love one another, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The golden rule is still the same as it was 2,000 years ago. Be kind one to another. Uh, Consider others as better than yourself. Those things have not changed. Well, the way we're kind changes. What we do for others changes. Living in community changes. The culture changes, but the tenets stay the same. Same thing with the Constitution. The tenets stay the same. So that's what I want you to learn from this today is that, you know, let the poor guy, leave the poor guy alone. I mean, you spent 36, $48 million in 36 months of his initial presidency. All the while, when Hillary was running against him, everybody was like, "Will you accept will you accept the election results? Will you accept the election results?" That was in 2016. Well, they asked him to say it again. Would he accept the election results? And he said a fair election. And I believe he would have. This election, there's too much fraud in it. There's too much fraud. There's too people say, well, he didn't show any evidence. The courts refused to see the evidence. They didn't want to bring it to court. So they had no basis. The courts turned him down. The highest court in the land turned him down because they didn't want to show favoritism on the guy who just put him in office. So they voted against him, which is craziness, which is crazy. So with that being said, uh, if you haven't got it, figure out getting get your gun license now if you can, and have one just to be on the safe side, guys. And then my third point is, what is the deal with all these troops? They had intelligence. By the way, they had intelligence prior to the Capitol riots. There was 100,000 people there, guys. 100,000. I'm telling you, there was 100,000 people there. 200 were arrested, or 200. They've identified 100. They've arrested. That's a very small, very small percentage of people that went nuts. But again, it wouldn't have been ardent Trump supporters because ardent Trump supporters were there to hear Trump and support Trump. So they were going to follow him to the Capitol. So you wouldn't have been there 10 minutes early. You wouldn't have been there at 12:53. You would have been there at 1:15. And you wouldn't have been the first people to the scene. So the first people to the scene were already there. They weren't listening to Trump. Couldn't have been. So, but what is the deal with all these troops? I mean, you got a 9-foot wall around the place. Now, my question is, I thought Washington D.C. was a sanctuary city. You allow illegals in, but you're going to stand up against the domestic terrorists, is what you call them. They're your citizens, for Pete's sake. They're United States citizens. They have a voice. And if you'd listen to the voice, If you'd accept the ballot box, you probably wouldn't have to accept the bullet box. You wouldn't have to be worried. But now these senators and these politicians have felt fear for the first time in their life, real fear. But the everyday American feels the fear every day of their life. They're afraid of how they're going to pay their bills, how they're going to take care of their mortgage, how they're going to pay their electric bill, how they're going to put food on the table. They live in this state of anxiety 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, at some point or another. And now the politicians have felt it. And all of a sudden, life has to change. It's amazing. And nobody needed to vote on all this stuff. Notice how fast it happened? Happened very fast. If you enjoy the positive switch, guys, I'm not picking sides here. I'm just got to walk in common sense, and I'm not picking sides. But if you enjoy this at all, um, choose to support us, and really, guys, choose to support us, and share this with your friends, because we're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it going. So, with that being said, you guys have yourself a great day. Keep smiling and keep your stick on the ice and keep smiling. It's a small curve that sets a lot of things straight. My name is Jonathan Ribble, and thanks for joining us on this edition of the Positive Switch. And I hope you got a good laugh and a good chuckle. And this is how news is going to be from now on for me. And it's got to be entertaining. Take care, guys. Have a great day.